It was supposed to be a quiet, heartwarming celebration, a simple birthday live where Jimin could laugh, reminisce, and thank ARMY for their endless love. But what began as a joyful moment on October 13th, 2025, turned into one of the most talked about events in the BTS fandom this month. And it all started with just one name, Jungkook. When Jimin mentioned Jungkook during his Weverse Live, no one expected it to spark such a storm online. Some fans melted at the sound of Jimin's soft laughter as he recalled their military days together. A rare, precious story from two of BTS's youngest members who've shared years of friendship. Others, however, took a different turn, accusing him of fan service or queer baiting, claiming his comments were made to attract attention. But what really happened during that moment? And why did something so small turn into such a massive controversy? The night of October 13th felt like any other birthday live, until it wasn't. Jimin appeared on screen, smiling brightly, his hair slightly tousled, and his voice filled with gratitude. "I missed everyone," he said softly in Korean. "I wanted to spend my birthday with you." Half an hour into the live, as he read through fan comments and thanked ARMY for their messages, Jimin began sharing a story from his military service. It was an emotional, reflective moment, something fans hadn't heard much about since BTS began enlisting. He described a quiet evening jog on base, where he was running alone, listening to the soundtrack of the anime film Your Name. He smiled as he spoke, his tone turning nostalgic. "There was a part of the song," Jimin said, "where the melody hit just right and I turned a corner, and suddenly, Jungkook was right there." He paused, chuckled softly, and added, "It felt like a scene from a movie. I laughed, but at that moment I thought, oh, we really grew up together." Fans watching live flooded the chat with hearts and teary emojis. It was pure, honest, and undeniably touching, a glimpse into a moment between two friends who had spent years side by side, now reunited in one of the most demanding chapters of their lives. But then social media reacted. Within hours, clips of Alive began circulating on X, formerly Twitter. Most fans adored the story. Hashtags like #JungkookMoment and #JiminBirthdayLive trended globally. However, by the next morning, another wave of hashtags began to surface. #StopQueerBaiting and #FanServiceGoneTooFar. Some online critics argued that Jimin was using Jungkook's name to create shippable moments and drive engagement, a familiar but controversial topic in the K-pop world. Others, including longtime ARMYs, defended him passionately, stating that Jimin had always been genuine, never manipulative. One fan wrote on X, "Jimin's love for Jungkook is brotherly. They trained, suffered, and succeeded together. Stop twisting pure friendship into something dirty." Another responded, "But he knows how fans react when he mentions Jungkook. It's calculated." The fandom was divided. What should have been a day of celebration suddenly became a battleground of interpretations. Within 24 hours, Korean and international outlets picked up the story. Koreaboo, Music Mundial, and Okpop published summaries of Jimin's live, highlighting both the emotional story and the subsequent backlash. Headlines read, "Jimin's military story with Jungkook melts hearts, but sparks fan debate." BTS's Jimin targeted by hate comments after mentioning Jungkook in live broadcast. HYBE, as always, remained silent. No official statement, no clarification. The company seemed to let the storm pass naturally, but in the fandom's corner of the internet, the storm was only getting stronger. Fans replayed the clip, analyzing Jimin's tone, Jungkook's name, even the background of the room he was in. Every frame became a clue in a fandom mystery that no one intended to create. When you strip away the chaos, what remains is something simple, human. Jimin wasn't trying to create fan service. He was sharing a memory, a moment of quiet connection between two friends who've been through everything together. Fame, exhaustion, pressure, and now, the strict discipline of military life. That single line, "I turned a corner and Jungkook was right there," carries more meaning than any headline could capture. It wasn't about romance or controversy or calculated engagement. It was about comfort, familiarity, the relief of seeing someone who understands you completely, even in silence. It was the kind of scene you only share when your heart is full. The night after Jimin's live ended, the fandom didn't sleep. Weverse was alive. Twitter, X, was on fire. TikTok edits appeared by the minute, each one replaying that same soft smile, that same nostalgic tone, and that one fateful sentence. I turned a corner, and Jungkook was right there. In the K-pop world, few moments capture both tenderness and tension like this one. What looked like an innocent, heartfelt story about friendship became the center of a heated global debate, not just about what Jimin said, but what it meant. By midnight, the hashtags told two completely different stories. On one side, hashtag Jungkook forever and hashtag Leave Jimin alone dominated the trending page. Thousands of fans posted long messages defending Jimin's sincerity. They called his story a window into his soul, a soldier's nostalgia, and proof of genuine brotherhood. One army from Seoul wrote, "People forget that Jimin and Jungkook grew up together. They trained together when they were just teenagers." To mention Jungkook during such a personal story isn't fan service. It's love, it's gratitude, it's memory. But on the other side of the same screen, critics voiced concern that Jimin's choice of words could be manipulated by fans who ship BTS members romantically. Some said it was unwise for him to bring up Jungkook's name during a live watched by millions. One viral tweet read, "He knows how the fandom reacts to Jungkook content. It feels like he's feeding the chaos." And that's when the conversation began shifting from what Jimin said to how fandom culture interprets everything idols say. A 15-second clip titled, "The Movie Scene That Broke Army," started circulating widely on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. It showed Jimin's quiet smile as he described seeing Jungkook turn the corner, paired with romantic background music, cinematic filters, and fan captions like, "A scene straight out of K-drama." The clip exploded. Within 24 hours, it had surpassed 10 million views, with comments ranging from emotional to defensive. Their bond is just different. This feels like fate. They've always been soul-connected. This proves it. But others tried to ground the conversation. Please remember they're close friends, brothers, nothing more. Don't over-romanticize everything. Still, the clip had already taken a life of its own. For many fans, it was more than a story. It was a symbol of how deep Jimin and Jungkook's bond had grown over the years. As the controversy spread, fans turned their attention to Jungkook. Would he say anything? Would he post something like a comment, even an emoji? He didn't, at least not directly. But then eagle-eyed fans noticed something. The day after Jimin's live, Jungkook's Weverse account showed him listening to music again. The track? Nandemanea, the Same Your Name OST Jimin mentioned in his story. Coincidence? Maybe. But to ARMY, it felt like a quiet message, a silent nod from one brother to another. On fan forums, posts began popping up titled, "Jungkook just replied without words," and "His playlist said everything." One fan wrote, "That's how Jungkook communicates. He doesn't talk, he mirrors. It's his way of saying, 'I remember too.'" And just like that, the tension softened. For a brief moment, fans stopped arguing and started feeling. Within 2 days, Korean news outlets picked up the story. Dispatch described Jimin's words as a poetic glimpse into BTS's military life, while Newson called the online backlash a sad reflection of how innocence becomes controversy in modern fandom culture. Even the Korea Times published an opinion piece titled, "When Friendship Becomes Fiction, the Danger of Reading Too Much into Idols' Words." The article questioned whether fans' obsession with idol interactions has blurred the line between reality and imagination. It suggested that idols, despite their fame, should be allowed to share emotional memories without fear of misinterpretation.